in Gyeonggi-san, Dojeon.
All right, so here we are on Cloud Kingdom, apparently. The grand final's so big that it even is too big for our current map pool for the tournament. And but whatever, we'll roll with it. It's a great map. I'm not going to lie. I really, really enjoy it. And down at the bottom of the map in the red, leading off for NSHoSeo is Tassadar. Very strong Protoss player, and his opponent in the blue playing Zerg from the team Prime. It is AnnYeong.
And, you know, both these guys have written some pretty incredible stories. I mean, Prime has done very well for themselves. I think the real stars of the tournament have been Marine King and Creator from their team, of course. But I've got to give it to, and I've got to say that if I have to pick who's the favorite of in my heart, I'm going to say it's NSHoSeo. I think they've written themselves an incredible story with their run through the lower brackets. They dropped down to the lower bracket after being all killed by FXO in the second round. They'd only taken out Dignitas in the winner's bracket, as a matter of fact. So they go down to the lower bracket, then they take out in order Zenex, then Empire, then StarTale, then FXO, then OGS. Like they've beaten 5 ridiculous teams to put themselves in the grand finals.
No kidding, man. NSHoSeo is just, I don't know, they just seemed unstoppable. They're like, we don't like being in this lower bracket thing, so we're going to get through it as fast as we can, get back to the grand finals, and they have done it. It just blows me away, too, that this is 2 teams that had to qualify. These aren't invites. So, I mean, not saying that they weren't teams that we thought could do well, but they just weren't on the invite list, you know, for whatever reason. But so these guys have really worked extra hard, you know, having to go through a whole separate tournament to make it.
Yeah, you mentioned as well that they actually met up in the same qualifier in the finals of that. They were the 2 teams to qualify from the exact same qualifier. Apparently that one was just going to be stacked beyond belief.
Well, what happened, actually, NSHoSeo beat Prime, qualified that one, then Prime came back the next week and qualified, wasn't it? In the next one?
Yes. Well, let's. Is that what it was? Because I thought it was.
We only had 2 teams qualify, so yeah.
You're right.
It was so long ago. So long ago.
We also had Vile. I'm trying to think who the other ones. We had NSHoSeo, Prime, Vile, and StarTale. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, was the top
team? So yes.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'm just hallucinating. It was. You know, it's been 30 days. This is day 30 of the Team League anyway.
Yeah, my God.
So that is a lot of matches, a lot of games. Hope you guys have enjoyed the ride. I know I have. It's been a lot of fun.
It really has been.
My first tournament with IPL. It's been pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah.
This is not the beginning of the end, but merely the end of the beginning.
There you go.
I just needed to say something horribly cliched like that.
Don't think of it as losing it. No, that actually doesn't apply here. All right.
All right, it is Forge Fast Expand coming up for Tassadar now. No real surprise on this map. And, of course, AnnYeong decided to pool first before he expanded. Then he is going to have down his hatchery nice and early in this game.
Yep. Should be. And will we see him go for that free hatch without gas? It's kind of the question that I have right now. It's a map. Well, it's not Overlord. He can't make a hatchery. Poor guy. It's a map where I feel like it'd be a little bit tougher to do it. I still think we're going to see it just because it is kind of the standard these days. But that third tends to be, you know, I feel a little bit more exposed on this map, despite the kind of triangle configuration of the bases. It's just got a lot of entrances to it, you know, a lot more than other maps. So we'll have to see what happens. We haven't cast a lot of games on this map.
No.
Because the map's not in our map pool.
I've certainly hit it a lot in ladder, though, and always seems to come up in PvP for me. I don't know why, but PvP, a few PvZs, though. I've actually not played a PvT yet on this map, though.
Oh, okay. All right.
And let's see here. Is Tassadar plugging in that gap right now, putting out his first Zealot, of course, and has the Cybernetics core coming up a little bit removed from the wall. Now, his opponent, Tassadar, just, actually adding in a gas right now on just 2 bases.
Oh, okay. All right, so it looks like we won't see that very, very fast third hatchery. You can tell the probe was looking for it. I mean, nearly all the Zerg players are doing it these days. And look at this. He's not going to stop the probe from getting into the base, but it looks like that queen may be able to stop him from scouting. Maybe not. Oh, she's off creep.
That's true.
Oh.
And Tassadar just turns around, now regaining some shields, and should be able to take a couple of hits and make his way back in.
Gets in there.
Gets a perfect scout. There it is. Okay, sees the gas now.
Yep, does see the gas, sees that there's nothing aside from that as well. So he's like, all right, well, you're going for gas. It's a little bit of a weird timing, but we'll see what happens. So I think we're going to see pretty quick Zergling speed come out of here from AnnYeong. It could also be a Roach Warren as well, I suppose, but I think, you know, Zergling speed would be a priority. And look, there's actually a third hatchery. Okay, interesting.
Well, we'll see what he does with this gas. He's going to have 100 very, very soon, but could at any time decide to put down a Roach-Warren Evolution Chamber and layer there as well. Oh, second gas coming up at the natural.
Okay.
So adding on a little bit more. Tassadar, on the other hand, going up to 4 gates and +1 for now.
Yep, that's right. So we'll have to see if he adds on a Robo here in a moment and goes for something like Warp Prism play. It has been pretty common to do 4-gate Warp Prism. Another teammate of Tassadar's, San, loves that build, so
yeah,
that might be a possibility. Otherwise, we might just see more gateways. We might also see the Twilight Council for Blink as well. Probably not this time around, since +1 is about ready to finish. And timing wouldn't work out. Oh, never mind. There's the Twilight Council. Okay, so he actually is going to go for that after all. Baneling Nest on the way for AnnYeong.Prime. That's interesting. Okay,
Yes.
don't see a lot of Banelings in CVP these days.
He has 8 larvae sitting around, but of course is banking quite a few resources. A few units making their way out now. Tassadar just finishing up +1. There it is. And oh, he denies the kill of the pylon as well, allowing him to warp in yet more zealots, cleaving his way through those Zerglings.
And those are +1 zealots as well, so they will tear apart Zerglings very, very quickly, and no Roach-Warren on the way at all yet for AnnYeong.Prime. And he's got to try to defend this with not a whole lot. Yeah, Spine Crawler going down, but that's not going to finish anywhere near in time. I think the hatchery might just get focused down. I don't know if that's going to beat up Zerglings.
9 Banelings are making their way out right now as well, so those are just morphing in. They're going to make their way out now. Tassadar, do you have enough to keep doing damage? Banelings are getting a beautiful hit, and the Zealots will eventually all die, so Tassadar's attack, it looks like there was an end put to that.
That was interesting. I mean, yeah, there weren't any sentries there to stop the Banelings from doing their thing, and although Banelings aren't quite as effective against Zealots, they still do the job. I mean, if the Zealots get clumped up enough, it's not so bad.
Yeah, it looks like Tassadar going to tickle beam this Overlord to death now as he adds in 2 more gateways. AnnYeong was not making his way off to the right, so don't think he got vision of the new warp gates coming in. No, he did not.
Yep. All right, so Blink on the way, +2 on the way as well. Yeah, it's going to be 7 gates, so we're going to see a big attack coming out here from AnnYeong.Prime fairly soon. It's a lot of Zerglings out for Tassadar, but will he decide to just make a bunch of Banelings and try to defend it that way? His lair is on the way. He's got a good amount of gas saved up, so we may see something like Spire as well. I still don't think there's a Roach-Warren, not yet.
No, neither do I. Taking a look around.
No Roach-Warren quite yet.
Don't see one.
Just getting that macro hatch, so yeah, I would imagine we're probably going to see Spire out of this then.
All right, well, he does have quite a bit of gas saved up already. Layer tech is now done. We'll need a few more resources until he can put up that Spire. Of course, had to cut a few drones to put out a lot of attack units, or rather defending units there. And no inclination of tech quite yet, but it's
speed instead right away.
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
No inclination of his future tech quite yet, though.
This is such a strange build from AnnYeong.Prime. Just going pure Zergling Baneling, it looks like, making 5 more Banelings right now. And they're great, except for these things called sentries that have force fields. I mean, force fields do kind of tend to negate the Banelings a little bit if they get trapped. So I kind of feel like he's counting on Tassadar to make a mistake in his control, I mean, you can't really rely on Banelings in ZVP like this.
Yeah, that's a hard strategy to try and go after, but he is going to try and do it, and the Banelings take 1 loss there, forces out a couple of force fields. But Blink is still ready and waiting there for Tassadar.
Well, he does a good job of buying time for the Spine Crawlers to get up, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it's going to be tough for those to connect with Blink. We'll see if it works out. Yeah, the Zerglings getting separated from the Banelings almost completely here. Plenty of +2 Stalkers to narrow those down.
Yeah, Spine Crawlers disappear so quickly to those Stalkers. And once again, force field control was not the best, as it did leave a gap for the Banelings to make their way through. So the sentries basically all went down, but there's just still too many units out here for Tassadar.
Well, AnnYeong.Prime did a good job of targeting the sentries with those Banelings. He did surprisingly kill quite a few, but yeah, now he's got to deal with all these Blink Stalkers. Does he have enough Zerglings?
Zerglings are certainly the better unit here rather than Roaches, but the Blink control out of Tassadar has proved to be pretty good so far, and he does have just enough powerful units to eventually push that force back.
All those Stalkers are at about half health right now. He's going to kill the 3rd, it looks like. More Banelings on the way. And still the supply dropping for our Zerg player. That one's out, just stuck in the middle. He's protected.
Oh my god, let me out! I need to cleave through things!
He's like the mascot for the Stalker squad there.
Takes a swipe at an egg as he goes by. That's about all he can contribute.
Kingdom Zealots. He comes out at halftime and does dunks and stuff like that. Oh, and the Blink. Blink's back. Doesn't take a lot of damage at all from those Banelings.
No, really doesn't.
Unsurprisingly.
Yeah, unsurprisingly indeed. We have an infestation pick coming up, but there's no possible way AnnYeong is going to be able to utilize that in time. The front line of Spinecrawlers is going to go down, and it looks like NSHoSeo may very well take game number 1 in this best of 9.
Yeah, and a rather puzzling game one, I gotta say. I'm not quite sure why Tassadar went for that particular strategy. I mean, obviously, he can throw things about as good as you can, but it's just so difficult to engage those gateway armies with the Banelings. There's the GG.
Yep.
And NSHoSeo takes a quick game 1 over Prime.